And thank you so much again for being here. This meeting is part of the priority setting process that Minor Use Foundation has been conducting now. So we started the process in January. We had an open call for the researchers, growers across the globe to submit the priority nominations for pests and diseases for specialty crops. We received 5,000 nominations. Sure. Thank you, Mr. Yuvaraj. We will make sure to share the recording. We received 5,000 nominations from around the world, and now we will be sending that to the industries to get your support. So in this process, industry definitely plays a key role in working with the Minor Use Foundation as well as the government. So with that, the idea of this call is to give you a background on what we have been doing in the past 1 month and what are the results that we have now from the nomination, and what would be the next step by in working with the industry and the foundation. So with that background, we have a set of presentations today, and our team, they are joining in a different time zone from the US and from Latin America and from Africa. So we have with us Dr. Dirk Trost. So he had worked with the industry for almost 3 decades, and he is our board for the chairman for the board of Minor Use Foundation. He is joining from the US, and I would like to request Dirk to provide the welcoming remark and set the stage for this meeting.
Well, thank you very much, Sasi. Good day. Good morning to many of you, and good day to the rest. My name is Dirk Drost. As Sasi mentioned, I am the board chairman for the Minor Use Foundation. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Sasi introduced me and mentioned my career in the crop protection industry. I spent 35 years working in the crop protection industry, focused on research development, technical service, and working at the interface and launching with marketing and launching new products for Syngenta and its legacy companies. And prior to that, I actually did my PhD dissertation research at the International Rice Research Institute in Los Baños, Laguna, Republic of the Philippines. But that's enough about me. And so let's proceed. Now, on behalf of the board and our executive director, Anna Gore, it's a pleasure to welcome you to this industry orientation workshop for the Minor Use Foundation's global priority setting process, which started back in January of 2025. The foundation has managed a global minor use priority setting process most recently in February or in September of 2020. And previous to that, it was done as part of preparation for the Global Minor Use Summits on number 1 through number 3 that were convened by a different organization. So let me thank you for joining and representing the crop protection industry and shaping the future of pest and disease management options for specialty crops and minor uses. Without the industry participation, this process well, we're helpless. We need access to crop protection technologies to fulfill the needs of specialty crop growers. During this meeting, you're going to be introduced to not only the process, but your part in that process of identifying the right pest and disease products to address emerging priorities, which we are uncovering together for crops and pests, and to fill the gaps in MRLs, and to identify products which should be supported in codex reevaluations and other special projects which might be proposed. You'll learn about the online tools and resources that you'll need to complete your part of the process. And of course, as Sasi mentioned, you'll learn about the timeline and milestones between now and May of 2025. I believe, as an industry person, I believe that this workshop will give you valuable information and insights and input into the work that's being done by the foundation with industry and support important pest management tools that growers worldwide need access to. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you to our donors for funding to facilitate this important project. I look forward to hearing from you if it's appropriate and if you have questions directly from me. And I look forward to seeing you at events like this coming up in the future. I'll make sure that Sasi and the team share my contact information, and so that if you wish to reach out and communicate with me, you have the information to do that. So once again, thank you very much, and my best wishes for a profitable session today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doug. Your expertise has been so helpful for us in steering the way that we operate and work with the industries. Thank you so much again. And some of you here are aware of what Minor Use Foundation is and what we do, and some the organization might be new for you. So we have been working, as Doug was mentioning, we had our priority setting process in 2021. And when we started that, we mainly worked with the global headquarters. But as we started implementing the project in Asia, Africa, or Latin America, we realized the importance of regional teams and regional offices and regulatory experts working in the region, because we work closely with you in shipment and getting the protocol or getting some understanding. So with that, we understood the real need to also have regional industry sessions to get your feedback and your suggestions. As you know, the growers in the region very well. So as I was highlighting, since some of you are new to Minor Use Foundation, please allow us to present about the work and what we do in the region. And I would like to let you know that if you have any questions, please feel free to add in the chat. We have a Q&A session following the presentations where we will be addressing all your questions. You can add in the chat, or you can reserve it, and you can even ask that to the presenters during the Q&A session. So with that, Minor Use Foundation is a non-profit registered in the US. So there was this WTO STDF funded project in all regions on specialty crops, where they tried to establish MRL for missing MRLs for the specialty crops. Considering the huge success and the response that we received, we wanted to continue that initiative. And that's how a Minor Use Foundation was created by volunteers, including Dirk, Alan, who are presently in the call. They are the board members, and we have our team operating across the globe. I am from Asia, and we have Melon from Africa, and we have Edwin from Latin America, and few other experts spread across the globe. So we work with the countries in technology transfer, knowledge sharing, capacity building, building South-South cooperation, and also promoting public-private partnership. So why specialty crops? As the industry person, you all are so familiar with the term minor use pesticides, so I will not talk a lot on that. But why specialty crops? When we talk about the specialty crops, the return for the farmers is more when they go for specialty crop cultivation than a major crop cultivation. And it has definitely an economic impact and environmental impact by promoting crop diversity, and also provides nutrition and food security, which is the core reason why we want to focus on specialty crops, which usually do not get attention or usually do not have as many number of crop protection solutions that the major or high acreage crops would be having. So that's the idea of us working with the industries, with the growers, to find sustainable, low risk, or new solutions to the pests and diseases that attack the specialty crops. So always with the growers, when we talk on pesticide use or so many things, there is always this complex environment for the farmers with the changing regulatory landscape, lack of clarity on how they should be using biopesticides. There is always miscommunication and misinformation that comes with the crop protection solution usage. And then there is increasing pest and diseases with climate change, and the countries are starting to ban old pesticides. So all these are kind of putting farmers in a very complex situation. And as with the Minor Use Foundation, what we try to do is we have or we always put the growers at the center, and we try to link the growers with the different agencies like extension, private industries, research and development, national regulatory framework. So whatever work that we do, we try to ensure that the farmers are benefited, and we help increase the access to the solutions for the farmers, and we try to give them a market access by establishing MRL so they can sell their product for a better value. Having this base idea in mind, we have four strategic goals for the foundation. So one is to amplify international attention and investment in specialty crops. So everywhere we try to advocate the need to support specialty crops. We promote a regenerative approach to agriculture through increased biodiversity, catalyze public-private partnership, and facilitate smallholder uptake of safe crop protection technology. So having these goals in mind, how are we framing our workflow? So we start by identifying the priority. So every work that we do, it's not what we like. It is coming from the growers or from the researchers from the national government through their survey, whatever they have conducted. We get inputs from the different stakeholders on what are all the key pests and diseases. Once we have that information, so that's what we did in the past month, collecting what are all the priorities from across the globe. And then we are now meeting with you to get, okay, so these are the pests and diseases that the countries nominated are of importance to them. Do you have any solution that we can recommend to the countries? So that's where we have this collaboration with industries. And once we get your inputs, we try to mobilize resources and funds to implement those projects in the countries. Let's say if India has submitted a request that curry leaf has a pest issue, and then we go back to industries, we ask them, do you have a solution? And if yes, so we try to work with the industry as well as the interested party to find funds and implement the project in India to either register the solution or to address missing MRL issue. So if it is missing MRL, then we try to conduct GLP studies. We have Codex MRL industry. So all these will be part of conducting GLP. So any study, be it technical or be it logistical support, we received in the past, and we hope to continue receiving support from the industry in implementing these studies. And once we have this, we will be establishing Codex and National MRL, which in turn will support the registration of the solution in the country that we are working with. And finally, as we all know, definitely having a legal product, authorized use, and addressing the pest and diseases would be boosting the trade. So this will reduce the off-label use, enhance food safety. We also do some policy influence at the higher level to have this minor use program in the country. So there are minimum data requirement for minor crops as compared to the major crops. So that we do it at the enabling environment level, and we support the MRL alignments. There are with the different countries having different MRLs. We try to promote Codex MRL, so people can adopt unified or harmonized MRL. So having this workflow, the core part of what we do is also generate data to strengthen CCPR. And how we do that is by promoting international collaboration and building network of experts. Like we have uh, projects in the same pineapple project. If we are submitting it for Codex, if there are 6 trial requirement, we do 2 in Asia, we do 2 trials in Africa, we do 2 trials in Latin America. That's how we try to share the experience and expertise of the people working in the region. So to give you a glimpse, these are all areas where we are currently working, and we are expanding in the world. In Asia, to be particular, we have active projects in Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia right now, and we are expanding to Indonesia, Philippines, India, and Sri Lanka. So these are part of the GLP trainings that we do, in order to ensure that the trials that we conduct meet the international standard. We will have GLP training from the experts. before the country start their trial. So in these are some examples of the studies that we did in the past with Thailand on basil, lettuce, dragon fruit, papaya, and passion fruit. And some of the industry experts were here. You might remember this because you supported us in implementing these projects in the countries. So I will not take more time in describing. So there are some future projects and projects that are ongoing with the industries that you can see. And we also have a very good success stories or impact stories, we call them, from each region, how our work supported the growers. So please feel free to go to this, and you can find more about us. So that's in brief about our foundation and the work that we have been doing in the region. So with that background, if you have any questions, please feel free to add in the chat. We will address it in the Q&A session. Moving on to that, to the next agenda, with this brief understanding of why we are here and what we do, I would like to now invite Ms. Melon Kabole. So she is our Africa Regional Manager. She will be presenting on behalf of Veronica. So Veronica is in Paraguay now. So I was highlighting in the past month we received nominations. So it is very overwhelming and so encouraging that we received 5,000 nominations across the globe. And we tried to put that into different categories so industry can easily pick that and provide your inputs into that. So I will request Melon to take over, and Nick, please start sharing the screen. Yes, over
Thank
to
you.
you, Melon.
Thank you, Sasi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's my pleasure to do this presentation, and I'm very happy that you were able to join us. I'll quickly be able to share with you the nominations that we have received following the procedure that Sasi has presented. The next slide, Nick. We classified the nomination into 6 categories, and these are new solutions, Codex MRL, periodic review, local registration, import MRL, and special projects. And this separation was to give clarity when we move to the next steps of finding solutions to the challenges that the specialty crops are being exposed to. The next slide, Nick. We got 5,215 applications or nominations. And just to clarify that, the ones that we are submitting and we are showing you the data on is only relating to 1,331. These are the ones that we received on via email and via website. We also got 3,800 additional nominations from the European Minor Users Coordination Facility Organization, which as soon as we'll be able to analyze, we shall be able to provide you the information. But at the same time, we shall work together with the European Union to be able to respond to the challenges that they are facing relating to the 3,800 submissions that they have made. And the analysis that we got, as you can see on the pie, we were able to get new solutions with about 50% of the entire nominations. 27% of the nominations were looking for import or Codex MRL as a new for a new solution. And I would also like to highlight that you can see half of them are looking for conventional solutions, another half are looking for biological solutions. And you can almost realize that we need to gradually open our options to also consider biological solutions or biopesticides registrations when we are looking at solving specialty crop needs or challenges. And our partners are also telling us the same. And it's one of the directions that we can also consider when we are looking forward in our next agendas and activities or projects together. These priorities, we got them from 48 countries, and they were from 5 organizations from different continents, including Europe, Asia, Africa, Oceania, and America. And this gives us a very good position where we have a good global representation. And when you look at this slide, you can see some of the countries that have submitted their nominations. Nick, if you go to the next slide, please. So if you look through on this slide, you realize that we have Africa, we have Asia, we have Australia, Europe, North America, Oceania, and South America. So this tells you that actually the entire globe is interested in nominating solutions and challenges for minor use to be able to respond to. Now let's look at the results for each of the categories, and we want to start with the new solutions. Nick, please. And under the new solutions, we note that the top crops that we received nominations for were peppers, chilies, and sweet chilies. Then this was followed by avocados, tomatoes, and eggplants. The Codex subgroups with the most nominations were tropical fruits, then fruit vegetables, citrus fruits, and followed by beans. This slide will show you the top 10 tropical fruits on the right side, which you can be able to see. And we also have shown you the top 10 nominated pests, with thrips being the most that was nominated for intervention. And you look at this, you realize that it is a mix of diseases and pests of interest in terms of pests affecting specialty crops. If we go to the next slide, we analyze the pest crop combinations, and we noted that the main attention was on chili peppers with thrips as the pest of interest. And this was followed by avocado having anthracnose in the tropical crops. And these results will be shared with you. They are very interesting results. If you look at them, you will realize that the combinations are actually giving you a great idea of what is happening on the ground and relating to what really needs to be done by the industry to respond to specialty crop needs. And if we select by criteria, we will request that you can be able to check these combinations and nominate how easily we can be able to work together. And this not necessarily meaning financial, it also can be in time, in kind, looking at your time, looking at the labs, looking at the fields, responding to part of the budgets that we'll be looking at to solve each and every challenge that will be identified at the end of this prioritization process. So we look forward to support from you. We look forward to support from your sectors and from any other contact that you have relating to reducing and responding to the challenges to specialty crops. Now let's go to missing MRLs. That is another category that we considered. And under missing MRLs, we considered the Codex and the import MRL requests. And if you can see the next slide, Nick, sorry that it is not very clear, and it is because we really got almost more than 100 non-pesticides were nominated. And this is a very huge number, meaning that there's actually need for import and Codex MRLs to be generated. And the most common one were imidacloprid, spinetoram, pimetrozine, promenade, carbaryl, and azoxystrobin. And in these applications, you realize that most of them wanted Codex MRL, but out of these ones, we had 21% of them who wanted import MRLs. For example, we had countries like the USA, the European Union, the China, Russia, and many others. They were very specific on import MRLs that they were interested in. Now, 82 crops of these sought tolerances for international trade, and the most that we received were rice, peppers, mango, onion, and cocoa. And when we share this information with you, you'll be able to see a very clear picture on exactly which markets are interested in which tolerances for international trade. We move to periodic review. Nick, the next slide. And under periodic review, yes, the next please. Under periodic review, we had a number of crops that were nominated for periodic review. And the biggest of them were tomatoes and peppers. And in this, 26 pesticides were requested specifically for tomatoes and pesticides and peppers. And if you check on your right, where we have the pesticide listed, you realize that if we analyze the pairs, you'll find malathion and tomato came to the lead. Then also malathion and passion fruit, and malathion and cucumber were actually the most interesting in terms of leading, in terms of nomination for the pest and pesticide combination. So we are still working on the pre-analysis of these molecules and which molecules will be giving us the best scenarios to meet the requirements for periodic evaluation, and we shall be able to give you the information in due time. The next category is local registration requests. And under local registration requests, just sneak the next slide, we had a number of crops that were nominated. Tomatoes, berries, small berries, and passion fruit topped this list. And you can see there were quite a number of them. Tomato had 17%, cucumber beet had 12%, sugarcane had 12%. So those were the ones that were also within the list. And finally, I would want to take you to the next slide, Nick. And this one is telling us about the active ingredients that were being proposed to be solutions to the local registrations. If you look through, you clearly realize there's a mix of conventional and biological. And specifically, you can see Beauveria bassiana took the top list, the last one. And we also have Bacillus. And this is also correlating with the previous noting that we had that the biological area of managing specialty crop challenges is also coming up very, very strongly. And then we also had salts like flake salts, copper, that were also recognized as possible solutions in addition to the conventional and the biological. Finally, if you progress, Nick, we had an opportunity to ask you to give us special projects that you would like us to respond to. And we noted that we have quite a number of areas that people are interested in working in that were categorized under the special projects. We're even happy in the chat, we are still having more proposals relating to special projects. So in this category, we got 40 special projects nominations, and these were from governments, grower associations, international organizations. And we have seen very nice initiatives ranging from regulatory harmonization, international data sharing or exchange, generating data, pesticide monitoring programs, digital tools where we're embracing artificial intelligence, and also supporting local registration for different pests. So we have really appreciated these special projects, and we would really look forward to seeing how best we can work together to be able to respond to these special projects through proposal writings and grant preparations to make sure that we respond to them. Before I finish, I would like to invite you to continue sending your special project requests and any other proposals that you have as we continue in the cycle of identifying challenges and responding to the challenges of specialty crops. And we would like your proposals in addressing these priorities that you have seen. We will share with you the deeper information relating to each so that you can align and identify with them. And we are excited to work with you, and we look forward to hear from you the feedback relating to these presentations and any clarifications relating to these. You can provide them in the chat, and we can also discuss them at the end of this presentation. It's my pleasure to have made this presentation on behalf of Vero. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam, for the excellent presentation. As you might have seen, there are a lot of nominations, a lot of data, and our team has been doing a lot of work to pull all that into 6 categories and present it in a way that is easier for you all. And from the nominations or the top crops, you might be already having some chemicals or some crops that are of your priority that we can discuss more in the, how we can work together on those crops. And coming to the next part of it, so now you know what we have or what we received as a nomination, and moving forward, how are we going to work with the industries to get your inputs on which crop is of your interest, which solution do you have in place that you would like us to work with. So to highlight that, I would like to request Ms. Anna Gore, our Executive Director. She is currently joining us from Colombia. Anna, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sassy. It's very nice to be here with all of you today. I'm just going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So there we go. You can, Sassy, can you give me a thumbs up if you can? Okay, good. Thank you. Great. So we thank you, Melon, for the overview of the nominations we received and kind of a breakdown by category, by region, by type. And now I'm going to walk through the process for industry to make nominations, because obviously without solutions, these problems, we can't work to address them. And so this is, as Dirk mentioned, why we rely on industry and why we're very grateful for your partnership. And so I'm going to walk through the next steps of the process for how industry can support future projects to address these needs and submit nominations for solutions. So there are three types of solutions, or three documents that we're going to be sending as a follow-up to this call. One will be a list of Codex MRL requests that we've received. The second will be import MRL and domestic registration requests. And the third will be periodic review, JMPR periodic review requests. So I'm just going to show an example of each of these three documents. As was mentioned earlier, our team is still working to essentially put together the final version of each of these documents that will contain all of the needs. But I'll tell you a little bit about what they'll look like so that you can know what to expect. Our window for nominating solutions opens on March 3rd and closes on April 14th. So you should expect to receive these documents on March 3rd, which will be next Monday. And then there'll be about a 5-week window where you can, be internally consulting and reviewing what we send and hopefully identifying solutions and nominating them. And those nominations need to be received by us by April 14th. And then we will take those nominations that we receive. We'll do, a merit analysis. We'll look at where we can try to have the most impact as an organization. And then we're going to finalize our work plan, our set of projects for the next 3 years at the end of May. I want to add though, I just wanted to add that we don't need an exact set of crop chemical combinations. We are looking for some crop chemical combinations that we can take up and we can begin new projects on, but we're also looking for trends and kind of broad feedback and approaches. So for example, when you're looking at these documents and you're filling them out, if you have an AI in your pipeline that you think could be good, maybe, you're not sure about it, you need more time to consult internally, or maybe it's an AI that isn't out yet, or there could be various reasons why you wouldn't be 100% sure in sending us a nomination. We encourage you to still include it, and we can be having conversations on an ongoing basis about the nominations that we receive and about potential projects. So we don't need to nail everything down. It's a very tight time frame to nail down such a large list of projects, but directionally, we want to be able to understand where we should be focused and where there might be solutions available where we can partner with you to address these needs. So that's really the type of feedback that we're looking for. So there we go. Okay. Moving into the specifics here. So this is an example of the Codex MRL request document. Again, there's such a large volume of data that we're going through. we're going to populate this Codex MRL request spreadsheet with approximately 100 Codex MRL nominations. We received over 300, but we're going to narrow. We don't want to overwhelm you with 300 possible nominations that you need to evaluate in like I mentioned, a fairly short period of time. So we're gonna narrow these down to approximately 100. They will be separated by Codex crop group. So in the document, you'll see the Codex crop group. This can also, I hope, assist with your analysis. So you'll be able to have them organized that way. Then you'll see the crop name, the target, cultivation type. If either the foundation or the nominator, the person who made the nomination, identified a desired solution, we will note it here. And then we're going to aim to, for each company, try to make educated guesses or suggestions about solutions. So, you know, what we might suggest to Bayer and Corteva might be different based on our knowledge of your AIs, but obviously we have very limited information about your strategy and your pipeline and things like that. But we will, where we have an idea of a potential project, we will add it here in the select suggested solution column. Then where did the request come from? So that, you know, that may be relevant for you, either in thinking about a local registration or just in general, in your consideration of the request. And then the green columns are where industry will provide feedback. So, you know, if you have the suggested solution for this nomination that you would like to nominate for Codex MRL, you would put it here. Is this chemical on the JMPR schedule? If so, for what year? Obviously, this is just sort of basic information that can be very helpful in planning a project and developing a timeline. And then any other comments that you'd like to provide about the nomination will go here. So that's the first sheet, which is on Codex MRLs. The second is on both import tolerances and domestic registrations. So here you're going to get a spreadsheet that will have probably about the same number, maybe a little bit more since we're talking about two categories, maybe like between 100 and 150 nominations. And then it will have the crop name, target name, and then it will identify whether this is a request for a domestic registration or an import tolerance, where the request is coming from. If it's a request for an import tolerance, where would they like market access to? So this won't say Codex, this will say a specific country where they're interested in getting an import tolerance. And then the cultivation type and the solution preference, if stated. So for some of these, as Melon mentioned, folks identified whether they were interested in a conventional solution, a biological solution, or either. The majority, I believe it was close to 80%, indicated that they're interested in either solution. So, you know, this will probably most often say either, but if there is a designation for preference, that will be noted here. And then again, if we have identified a solution or if the person who's made the nomination has identified a potential solution, we will make any suggestions here for your consideration. And then, oh, it looks like this got cut off, but there is a green section where then you will be able to add the solution and any other information. Let me actually go out of the presentation to a spreadsheet so I can share this. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, I think this is the right. Yeah, so I think this just got cut off. So sorry about that. But the form will actually look like this, where you'll see the industry nomination. Oh, and then there was a question that was asked in the nomination form. It could also be that somebody is requesting a replacement for an older chemistry. And if that's the case, we will note that here as well. We didn't receive very many of these, but if for the ones that we did receive, we'll note that. And then here's the spot for industry to make the nomination for the solution type. So you can indicate biological, conventional, or It could be both. I guess, some regulatory environments could be a conventional or a biological. And then any comments that you would like to make about the nomination. So let me just jump back into the presentation. Okay. So that will be the second form. And then the third is for the JMPR periodic review list. So we wanted to show malathion as an example here, since that was the most commonly requested chemical for JMPR reviews. So this is the most simple form. It will just have the chemical name, the year that this is up for periodic review, commodity of interest, if noted, and then the origin of the request. And then essentially, again, we're going to try to disaggregate this by company as much as possible so that you're receiving only requests for molecules that you're the owner of. We'll do that as much as we can. We're also going to try to do some initial triage on this list to see, whether we believe there would be industry support for this, and we'll try not to overwhelm you with these requests. This one will probably be, there's the fewest of these. I believe we should be making requests for about 10 chemicals for periodic reviews. And then all you would need to indicate as industry as you review these would just be yes or no. So that's the only column for industry there. So as I mentioned, next Monday, March 3rd, when our window for nominations will open, we will be sending these 3 Excel sheets to you. And what we're asking is for each company to submit in response to us 3 Excel sheets back. So you can kind of take it, work on it internally, distribute it, and then have it kind of come back to one point of contact who will then make the submission on behalf of Syngenta or whatever the company name is. So we'll receive one, I guess 3 Excel sheets, 1 Excel sheet for each type of nomination from each company. And please let me know if any of that was unclear. I'm happy to review that. And then I wanted to just go over some FAQs. These are also on our website and will be shared in a link when we follow up with the documents. But I wanted to also just walk through this since we're talking now, because these questions come up often as companies are considering making nominations. So for the field phase, is industry expected to ship products directly to the test sites? Yes, we find it works best when companies are able to ship the test substance directly themselves. Obviously, there can be exceptions to everything that we do, but that is generally the way that we operate. And then will all field samples be shipped to one central analytical facility with the same sample processing capabilities, or to separate local facilities? And in most cases, samples are shipped to separate local facilities. We will monitor studies for phytotoxicity if required, and we prefer the critical gap as it's a better sort of global option for our studies. Again, this isn't true for 100% of what we do, but it is sort of the majority of the studies that we do, and it's probably good to use as a rule of thumb when evaluating nominations. For the analytical phase, we typically partner with government laboratories to do the pesticide residue analysis. And we do, again, find it works best when the company sends the analytical standards to the facilities directly. So that would be the desired way of working. Again, something that you can keep in mind when making nominations. And analytical results will, of course, be shared with industry. And then for the final stage of registration and submission, we do not typically make the submissions to JMPR. That is something that the company does. We will prepare the final report. We will send it to industry, to you all as our partner, and then you all will make the submission, incorporating and adding all the other documents that are required for the JMPR submission. like the aspects that are mentioned here: toxicology, product chemistry, environmental fate, etc. Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that I've covered all of the content here. Again, happy to answer any questions afterwards. Oh, yes, and the final question here about local registration. So we do not typically do local registrations. That again would be something that industry would do. We would do the studies for the Codex MRL submission. Again, this is obviously depending on the type of project, but in the case of a Codex MRL, we would not do the local registration, the local label. That would be something that we would hopefully leverage from industry, either from a pre-existing label or work that industry would be able to do alongside our data generation to get the local label at the same in parallel to the international data. In terms of archiving data, MUF retains an electronic copy while raw data remains at the test sites. And we are happy to forward the raw data as well to the company so that you can retain a copy of it for your records. And I believe that's it for that presentation. So I hope that gives you all a sense of what the next steps will be in terms of submitting nominations. I think if it's okay, Sassy, I'll just go right into the next presentation. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go right into the next agenda item. Sorry, which is on what the next steps are after nominations are received. So you have an idea of what this process will look like as we finalize it and move forward. Let me just go into the slideshow. There we go. Thanks. So after the priority setting process is complete, we'll share the nominations that we've received with industry. That's what we're talking about now, and receive inputs from you all through this process. Then we will go through our final process of identifying our priorities. And then, as I mentioned at the end of May, at the upcoming Codex Committee on Pesticide Residues meeting at CCPR, we will share our final set of priorities. And again, just a caveat, as I mentioned, that this is sort of a in some cases, we'll be identifying specific crop chemical combinations, and others will be identifying initiatives that we'd like to begin on. For example, I was noting that thrips and anthracnose were our most commonly nominated pests. Maybe we'll be looking more broadly at strategies to address thrips, strategies to address anthracnose. If you have AIs that are effective at addressing those things that are high priority for us. Again, even if it's not a very specific suggestion about what project you'd like to do, but you'd like to nominate that for consideration, that would be really valuable to us. But also welcome the very specific crop chemical combinations as well. Sometimes that's the easiest way to actually kind of find overlap and a way forward. So we welcome those as well. And then I wanted to just talk about a few initiatives that we have coming up so that you can be thinking about these as well. So some of the special projects requests that we received may turn into future initiatives for the foundation. And Melon kind of talked about those at a high level. If you're interested in any of those, please let us know, and maybe there's room for collaboration there. We're also going to be thinking about ways that we can help facilitate data sharing internationally. So, this could be collaborative projects. It could be regional projects in the EAC, where there's already a mechanism for joint MRL setting or joint registration. It could be other types of projects as well, connecting regions where there's interest and will to do that. So that could be another area where if you have an idea for a project, as you're reviewing the data, you have maybe a nomination that would fit into that category, we'd be really happy to discuss that further with you. We're also trying to, and this maybe goes to some of the comments that some people were making in the chat before I started the presentation, but we are also trying to focus on how we can support the establishment of national minor use programs globally. And so I think there were some good comments about the need to do that in India, and those are very well taken. And we've had a lot of conversations with ICAR the past couple of years about that. I think there is some interest in that. And you know, in other countries around the world where there's interest. And then as I mentioned, we may begin kind of other initiatives, and this could be in the vein, like I mentioned, of thrips or specific pests, but it could be crop groups. I know that there's a few folks from India here on the call. We had talked about potentially starting a spices crop group liaison committee that would just be looking at how can we address MRL issues in spices globally, and India could be a very valuable partner in a group like that. But you know, as we kind of dig into this analysis a little bit further, there might be other ideas that emerge as well. And again, we would really welcome your input if you see room or value in a certain type of committee, a certain type of initiative that could bring folks together to try to address some of these challenges. And then I think Melon also mentioned this, so I'll just cover it briefly. We really appreciate our engagement with industry. We really can't do this work without partnership from industry. So thank you for the time and energy that goes into that partnership. There are various ways that you can support the foundation. Financial support is always welcome. As a nonprofit, we rely on donations from the private sector. And so we are very grateful for that. But if there's, you know, financial support is not the only way that we can partner, and that we really can develop a meaningful working relationship. It could be if you have a technical expert that could come and give a talk on a specific chemistry or a specific methodology for residue analysis. You know, anything along those lines, that we would be really grateful to capitalize on that and try to connect the experts that you have in your company with the countries that we're working with. It could also be, as I mentioned, providing test substance for studies. That is our preferred way of working with companies, and it's very valuable to us to not spend you know, months and a lot of time and effort trying to get test substance through customs. Companies have an advantage that they really have supply chains around the world. So we really are grateful for that support when it's available. And also we find that, you know, for a lot of times in the development of the protocol, either from the study director or from the teams on the ground that are doing the trial work, or more often the residue analysis in the lab, having somebody in the company who's available to answer questions is very, very helpful. Sometimes that can make a huge difference in a study if there's somebody in the company who can help us get over a specific hurdle, and particularly the residue analysis. So that's also very, very valuable. So I just wanted to mention that, so you can keep that in mind as well in terms of broader partnership. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anna, for the detailed and clear presentation on how industry can send us the nomination details and also the next steps. So with that, we are done with the presentations. Now we will be requesting the people to ask your questions, and our team here will be helping address those questions. I request Melon to please moderate the Q&A. I know we have received a few questions in the chat already, and just to reflect quickly before Melon takes over, thank you so much for all the guidance and way forward or suggestions to work with India. We are taking steps, and we have been in communication with ICR institutes, FSSAI. We are also looking at universities who conduct similar work, so we can start working in India. We are very much looking forward to it, and we also have been working with World Spice Organization in India, who always keeps telling us about the off-label residues that they find in the spices through monitoring programs. So we are very much with you in all the suggestions that you made, and we also understand the importance of potential collaboration that we have with that will help us build that relationship with ICR through industries. Thank you so much again. And yeah, please feel free to unmute or raise your hands, and Melon will be helping us to moderate the questions to the right person. Over to you, Melon.
Thank you, Sasi. It's now time for question and answer. We have received a number of questions in our chat. And while the members are still thinking about another question, we have a question that Anna, you could respond to. It's talking about MUF is considering only registered solution or also some effective solution under development in trial first, and then who is the holder of such registrations where data is generated under MUF. So Anna, if you could, or Sasi, while we also get more questions from the members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Melon. Yeah, that's a great question. So we do prefer to work with molecules that are fully developed as we're trying to do projects over the next, few years. The next 3 years is really the work plan that we're trying to build through this. However, that we are also interested in molecules that are still in development and that are kind of in a pipeline. So we would welcome both kinds of nominations. But in terms of the focus of our work plan, it would be with molecules that are ready for market. And then in terms of data ownership, yeah, I don't know if Vero wants to come in on this question, but as I understand it, the company retains the rights to data, and the Minor Use Foundation also retains ownership.
Vero, would you like to weigh into what Anna has said? We're asking who is the holder of registrations where, okay, it looks like Vera is not able to respond, but Anna, I think you have exhaustively responded to it. So,
Vero, please
okay,
try
Vero
unmute.
is muted. Okay, let me unmute her. Nick, you could unmute Vero.
Vero highlights.
All I'm able to do is ask her to unmute.
Okay. Vero?
I think I can talk now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can try to write on the chat.
Okay. So Vero will put her comment. So, colleagues and participants, do you have any other question relating to the presentations we have received? And also any other area that you think we can collaborate in? I'm happy that we have a lot of partners that have been suggested on the chat. If you know any other, please feel free to contact us. We are very ready and willing to work together with the entire industry to make sure that the MUF mandate and specialty crops are well taken care of. So if we have any questions, I will be glad to take them.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning. This is Suresh from Bayer, India. So thank you very much for the nice presentation and the overview. And it's a welcoming subject because in India also we have been trying as an industry to address, especially the use in the minor crops, right? That has been a challenging for us. But I'm happy to see that Minor Use Foundation is coming forward to help it out. Shekhar just logged out a few minutes before. But I am so happy to see that you are also working with Dr. Vandana, who is the key person in India for residue data generation. And she also happens to be a part of FSSAI, right? So what I would say is that we will connect locally. I guess Yuvraj is from BSF is also on the call. So we'll discuss internally and come back to you, right? And what further steps we can do as jointly together for the benefit of the stakeholders, right? Especially the farmers and traders, and that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your insights, and we look forward to working with you and the communication that you have indicated. We have a question on the chat. Are you looking for a total package for a crop to address MRL or a solution for a particular problem? Could we respond to that, please?
Yes, I can respond. We are looking for solutions to particular problems, and we will be following up after this meeting with several spreadsheets that kind of list all the problems that we're looking for solutions to. So there's some kind of complexity to this, the set of problems, I guess you could say, that we're looking for solutions to. Yes, so we'll be happy to share that information with you following this meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. I saw Sopan, you are unmuted. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I am Dr. S.K. Ghosh from
Yes,
India,
please.
and I am representing Multiplex Biotech. And we are this group is working from last 40 years to develop different package of practices for vegetables and plantation crops. Mainly now, from 2000 onwards, we are shifting towards the bio. And a few of the crops already we have developed total package of practices, because when you are talking for MRL, because MRL probably we have to give a concentration for the INM also. The nutrient part has to be taken care. Otherwise, the end part, the last window of the crop is mostly challenging to manage with the low toxic chemicals or biopesticides. So probably the nutrients, primary, secondary, tertiary, even biostimulants also has to be taken care from the beginning. And then probably slowly we need to introduce the chemicals, and finally biopesticides. There should be a proper balance between the chemicals and biopesticides. And recently we have conducted, from last 1 year, we are working on tomato. And this paper we will be presenting in ICBC 25. And where in the tomato, clearly we have shown that how we can reduce the MRL by balancing the plant nutrients, biostimulant, chemicals, and biopesticides over the traditional cultivation. So probably not only the individual solution we have to look at total package. Then only probably we'll be able to address the MRL issue of any crop. Suddenly, if you go, the farmers are opting only chemicals, not the other health. If a health you are weak, definitely you have to give some solution there. But if you're making healthy of your plant, definitely the input will be less, and that part probably will be able to manage with the alternative chemicals, and which will give a significant impact on the MRL. That's my suggestion. And that is the direction we are working now. And we are going to take towards the community level also with tomato, trying to develop a model.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. I think you're really talking about what is happening out there, the new frontier in managing pests, IPM way, and also responding to the MRL issues. And we are looking forward to continuing working with you in the same space. And I can also see Manoj from T-Stands is also proposing broad spectrum solutions in biologicals. And I believe you have an opportunity to also present these options in the sheets that Anna presented as the industry responding to the challenges that we have noted. We will share with you this information, and I believe it will create an interest and insight with you. And if you get other ways that you think we can work together, other proposals of how best MUF can progress in your area, please feel free to contact us even beyond this meeting. And I think, Sasi, at the moment, we need to close the question and answer session and get it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghosh. Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj. You have a specific detail also on the product. So we will be sending you the details of the crops, and please feel free to add your inputs. If you have any more questions regarding particular chemical or biological, we would be happy to further address it once you get the nomination form. If it is still not
Shashi, I will be interested. I'll be interested to share you that our recent what we are presenting, that the
Sure,
model
sure.
we have developed. I'll share you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghosh. Mr. Manoj, would you like to add any remarks? I saw your message just before closing. Maybe you can unmute and provide your remarks, if any.
Thank you.
I think there are two systems and maybe an echo. Okay, so please, we will be getting in touch with you, and thank you so much. And we also have our partners from PI Industries, and thank you so much for your support and being here today. So we will be getting in touch with you all. So this is about today. You know, we mainly wanted to give you an idea of what we do and how we are planning to reach you in the coming days. Please look out for the emails from me, and if you have any questions, we are always ready to answer and address your questions. So with that, if there are no more questions, and considering that we have taken 10 minutes beyond the scheduled time, we would like to wrap up, and our emails and details will be shared to you soon. Also the recording, as some of you have requested. So we will be looking forward to an excellent collaboration in Asia as before. And yeah, so with that, I request Edwin, our Latin America Regional Manager, to provide a closing remark.
Thank you, Sassy. Thank you, Sassy, for your excellent moderation about the meeting. Okay, on behalf of the Minor Use Foundation, I would like to thank you for your attendance. We hope that today's session has been of great interest for you. Remember that the platform for the nomination of the solution will be open from March 3 to April 14, 2025. I would like to add that any question that arise during the solution nomination process, we will be attentive to answer them through the email we have in the chat. In this moment, I put the email on the chat. Okay, we hope to count on your participation and collaboration to support the minor uses. Thank you very much and have a good day.